my channel, Laura and Real Expat Live, where I talk about what it's like being expat living overseas. If you are new to my channel, welcome. You may have seen on my channel recently, we are back, and my first video is going to be about passports for your children. Passports for adults are a little bit easier to renew. You can pretty much do it online most of the time. I've always just sent mine away, done everything online, and I haven't had a problem. But with minors, because the parents have to be present and sign for the children and everything, it can be a little bit more daunting of all the paperwork that you have to get together. I found out that renewing my kids' passports is pretty much the same process as getting them in the first place. So it's different forms than when you're renewing a passport for an adult. For a child, you fill out the same as requesting a new passport. So US passports are good for 5 years for kids. My son's was expiring in June this year. And even though my daughter's doesn't expire for a couple of more years, I asked the consulate if it would be possible to go ahead and renew it right away, just so that we weren't having to fly to Palma every time, because we don't have a consulate here on Menorca Island. The closest one is in Palma, which is only a 20-minute flight away, but we have to go there. Sometimes the consular comes to our island every couple of years, but it wasn't going to be when we needed it. So I asked if it was possible to also renew my daughter's passport, even though it wasn't going to expire for 2 more years. And the consular responded to me saying that normally we need a special reason for renewing a passport so early, but because of our situation, not living near a consulate and that sort of thing, that is reason enough. And so we were able to do it. So I just kind of wanted to go through the process that we went through. It's really not as difficult as it sounds. There's just a lot of paperwork that you've got to have together and in order. But if you have everything done and ready to go, then you're good. So let's get into it. The first step is going to be to make an appointment with your local embassy or consulate or wherever you have to do the renewals. Like I mentioned, our consular is in Palma, which is a flight away. So all I have to do is email her. They've always been really good about getting back to me within less than 24 hours. It's really, really nice. I'm sure it might take a little bit longer for responses, or there might be ways to do online appointments in Madrid or Barcelona, or if you have a larger consulate near you, I'm sure it's a little bit different in the appointment making process. But for me, it's just a matter of emailing the consular, asking for an appointment, giving them a rough time frame as to when we could be there. And they were able to give us an appointment. We then booked our flights. We flew over, kind of planned a day of it. We had thought about staying overnight, but the kids are still pretty little and it just was easier to not deal with that. So we flew over in the morning with an afternoon flight coming back. We got to the consulate in time for our appointment. I had all of our paperwork ready. The entire appointment took about 20 minutes. We signed, we declared, we paid, and we left. So it was a pretty easy process. What you're going to want to do to prepare for that is make sure you have all of your documents ready. First thing is going to be the DS-11 form. This needs to be filled out online and saved to some kind of pen drive or some way to email it to the consular. I didn't know that. I had filled ours out in a paper form. And so I ended up having to do it online before, like inside the office. So my suggestion would be go ahead and fill that out online, I saved it to my phone and then was able to email it to them. They were then able to print it out. So go ahead and do that. I will link the website down below for the form. And it's a really easy process. You just fill everything in. It takes you step by step. One thing, I didn't have a social security number for my daughter yet, which I have also already requested, but I didn't have it at the time of filling out the paperwork. And what you need to put in there, if you don't have a social security number for your child, or you don't know what it is, put in zeros for all of the numbers. Otherwise, everything is pretty self-explanatory. You get to the end, you save it, etc. Then what you're going to need is the original birth certificate, where it has the time and place of birth and it's been signed and all of that. I will insert a photo here of what that looks like. You should have that if you registered the birth already. If not, that's a whole different process. But you should have your birth certificate. You're going to need the old or current passport, whichever one is being, if it's already expired or if it's going to expire, you want the current old passport, as well as a copy of the bio page. You don't need a copy of all of the pages of the booklet. You just need the front bio page. Then you're going to need both parents' IDs. In our case, it was my passport. And again, just the bio page, it needs to be photocopied. But you need the original passport with you also, as well as my husband who's Spanish. It was his ID card, his DNI card. It needs to be photocopied front and back of that, and then have the actual document with you as well. The other thing you need is pictures, and you need them in the US format. The European IDs and the US IDs have different sizes of photos that they want. For an American, it is an exact square. It is 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters or 2 inches by 2 inches. The place that we went to have photographs taken, they actually knew what that was. And so I didn't have to have the specifics, but it was pretty easy. They just knew, I just told them it was for a US passport and they knew what I needed. One thing you do need to make sure with the photos, make sure that their hair is off their face. Like I put my daughter's hair up in a ponytail because she has really curly, messy hair. So I made sure it was back and out of her face. My son wears glasses. Those need to be taken off. They can't have any hats on, things, you need to be able to see their face and everything clearly and nothing obstructing anything. So that is pretty much all you need. Again, it looks, if you read through the paperwork, there's a lot of things listed there and it can look really intimidating about what you need to gather. It's really not that difficult. There's only a few documents. Photocopy everything. It's just safe to have 1 or 2 copies of everything, and then you go there and you've got everything ready. You just boom, 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 hand it out, and the appointments usually go really quickly if you have everything ready to go. Then after you have signed and sent that away, they say it takes about 5 to 6 weeks. Honestly, ours arrived within 3. It was less than 4 weeks before we got our new passport. So they will keep the old passport and send it in with the paperwork, but then everything comes back to you in the mail. The nice thing was that we only had to pay for 1 shipping. They put both passports in the same package, which was really nice. You do have to, it is sent by messenger to your house. So you do have to pay when the package arrives. It's usually about 25 euros plus or minus. They do need cash for that. But they send the old passports back with the new passports, and then you're good to go. I do recommend getting it done in advance of the expiry or any planned travel, just in case it takes longer. I don't know if it depends. Ours go to Madrid, so I can't imagine being in a larger city, it would take that much more time. But again, make sure you leave yourself plenty of time before expiry or before any planned trips to make sure that all the documents are returned to you in time before you need them. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.